Hello, hello, welcome back to Hardcore. It is I, the most average of all the snows, and welcome back to my hardcore world, where so far we have survived 412 days, and we've made it to episode 6. And in the last episode, we built this villager breeder tower, where inside, the villagers just plopping down into the water here just entertains me so much. And we also decided that a spider farm for XP wasn't really cutting it, so we needed a guardian farm, and that meant braving an ocean monument. In between episodes, I've done a load of tree chopping, and I've been contemplating how beautiful that guardian farm really looks. Which is also the case for this killing area. Now, I feel like I'm getting into the habit of saying I'm going to finish something and then not actually doing it. So this time, I'm actually going to do what I promised and start the episode by attempting to make this place feel a little bit nicer. That's much better. So as you can see, we used a bunch of the prismarine, the sea lanterns and some of the warped blocks, and I think it looks beautiful. Beautiful is exactly what you need when you're killing bad guys. So as you can see, while we were building that, we've had campfires here. So if we head down here, you can see we've got a whole bunch of chests now, so a little bit more organised, and we've managed to collect a whole bunch of stuff, which is amazing. The only thing that I hope doesn't happen is if I accidentally slip my finger onto F4 and go into freecam mode, and you'll be able to see what it looks like from the outside. Oh no, how did that happen? Yeah, it's proper disgusting. But we're not going to go out there, we're going to do all our killing and material gathering from in here. So I guess at this point you'd like to know what the plan is for today's episode, right? Well, let's head over to our base area and I'll tell you all. So since we started this series, we've slowly worked our way down from the top of the hill where we built our starter base, all the way down to the river, which crosses over to the village where we camped out in episode 1. And as you can see from the tools and the armour that we've got here, it's not looking great. We also have a severe lack of diamonds, and at some point I'd also like to get some wings as well. But I am just nowhere near geared up enough with enchantments and stuff like that to attempt the dragon just yet. Because I will die if I do attempt the dragon right now, because I am grossly incompetent at Minecraft. So we really need to start getting some librarians so we can get some books and improve our gear. And thankfully, we have just a few villagers who are ready to go. And across the series so far, I've been getting a few small hints from you guys that you want me to do something with this village behind me. So I thought of a fun little project. So instead of having your classic villager trading hall, where we put villagers in like a 1x1 square and feel really sorry for them, maybe we could build them some lovely little houses and they can have their own little villager trading village. I said the word village way too many times there. But yes, they could have their own little small houses and then they can live freely over there. So the first step to having some nice builds over in this village area will be to get rid of this horrific bridge and get rid of this horrific bridge and build a lovely grand bridge that can connect from our main base area across to the village. So let's do that, shall we? So believe it or not, I haven't actually made a proper nice bridge before. Only, well, junk like these types of things. But this thing over here does actually have one use in that it gives us a really good frame of the area that we're going to build it. So I'm thinking we're going to need a central pillar about here, maybe with an arch that goes over to another pillar around this sort of area that you'd be able to boat under, and then the same over on this side. So let's first put those pillars in so we've got a bit of an idea of how big this thing is going to be. So for now, I'm just going to make this with plain stone and some spruce just to get the shape and the distances right, and I think that distance is looking about right at the minute. But what we do need to do is probably bring the grass out, because it looks like it's closer over this side, but that's just because this part of the dirt juts out from the coastline, and I think we're going to need to sort of shape this round a little bit over here. So let's do that. Okay, that makes it a lot easier to see. So we got rid of that little chunk of dirt there, and I think the sizing's about right. Next up, I think we need to try and get some arches between these pillars on both sides. So the shape is starting to come together. We've got the little archways. I've added some stones on the pillars as well, just to give them a little bit more depth. And I've also added some lower sort of pillar sections because we're going to have a stairway to get up to this sort of height to walk across on both ends. I think that's looking good, but it's looking a bit plain and it's kind of hard to see the shape properly because it's just fully stone. So I think time to do a bit of texturing. Now I think that's looking much better. So towards the bottom we've got more mossy stones leading up to the more cleaner stone towards the top. Just don't look at that. Yeah, it's kind of floating. I haven't gone all the way to the bottom. That's really far and that's going to need a lot more materials. So just ignore that. We've also got in the spruce, I've put the standard spruce behind it leading up to like the stripped. This one kind of looks a bit more wet, which I think looks quite cool. But I think the one thing we're missing now is sort of change of colour, because there's a lot of stone here and it's kind of difficult on the eye. So I'm thinking let's put a bridge that we can actually walk across between it now, and hopefully we can make that come down a little bit lower here, so you've got a different sort of shade with some wood types underneath it where the floor of the actual bridge is. So yeah, let's do that. Now that is looking very nice indeed, and if you come over to the side here, you will see that we've also done it underneath, so kind of matched the arch from the stones, and I think that makes it look really cool. And we've also got some trapped friends, because I got rid of that manky old oak plank bridge and I haven't sorted out the water yet, so they can just stay there for now. Next thing we need to do is, I'm thinking we need to break this up with some sort of fences or some fence gates, something like that, and maybe a couple of lampposts, and then I think we're done. And there we go, all done. Not bad for a first effort at a bridge, I think. What do you reckon? Let's have a little walk across. I think it's looking lovely with our little custom lampposts, and it goes really well with the whole area we've put together. So now that's done, it's time for Snow Does Something from the comments you can join in too. Yeah! Which this week relates to our villager breeder tower. And if we head past the loudmouths down at the bottom and we head up to the top, you'll see that the nice tower we made right at the top here is looking pretty empty. And in the last episode, I asked for some suggestions on what we could do in here. And there was a few really great suggestions, but there was 3 people who suggested the same thing. So how can I avoid that? And what was that suggestion? It was a potion room, suggested by Vanilla, Echo Sparkles, and Cheyenne. I'm so sorry if I've completely butchered your name, by the way. Let's see what we can come up with. And here it is, looking all magical and potion-y. Is that a real word? So we got a couple of brewing stands, we've got the blaze powder and the neverwort in there, we've got empty bottles, potions and potion resources up here in some little barrels, got neverwort growing, we got the water source, and some twisted vines as a little ladder up to some extra storage up here. And I think we did pretty well with this sort of size. It was difficult, but we figured something out. And of course, it wouldn't be a Snow Does Something without some signs saying thanks to the people who had the idea. Magical potions brought to you by Vanilla, Echo Sparkles and Cheyenne. And now that's done, it's time to sort out some trades and somewhere to live for these guys. So as mentioned earlier, we're going to have a little project where we create a little villager trading town or village or whatever you want to call it. And full disclosure, I'm calling this a village transformation because, well, it's clickbaity as hell. But I'm not going to do a huge transformation in one episode because, well, that's bonkers. This is going to be a slower paced change where we progressively move villagers in as we need their trades. So if I hop into FreeCam for a bit of a better angle, for today that's going to mean doing some terraforming, where I think we're going to probably bring this out a little bit here, and I think I'm going to cover in this bit of water because, well, this looks pretty gross. We're also going to build a couple of houses, so I'm thinking a little fisherman's hut on the side here next to the water where we can trade the fish from our guardian farm, as well as a house for a couple of librarians for some key trades like mending to sort out these horrific tools. So rather than me continue to talk about it, I should probably just get on with it, shouldn't I? So here we are, we've cleared out some space and the first couple of houses are done. We've still got a bunch of exterior decorating to do, and I've been very horrible to that cow behind me, keeping the little cow mini island where I've left this dude stranded. But we have a little house over here which will home some librarians, and over here we have a little fisherman's hut with a little pier out the front to do some fishing. Even though they are very much trapped inside and cannot escape. And before I show you inside their new home, I just have to show you this because this is brilliant. So obviously we breed up the villagers inside our villager breeding tower, but we need to get them over the road to their new little village. So the process is, this button is filled with minecarts, and there's a button just over here which we'll press, and I'll show you that in a sec. We head down here and you can see the very disgusting handiwork I've done under here, but press the button. It activates the dispenser which has got all the minecarts in. That shoots round here. It will collect the villager, and they are standing on this block right here, which is that center point in the villager breeder tower where the water is. And then they're going to shoot all the way down here and make their way over to their island. So why don't we show you it in action? So yeah, press the button, and then if we watch, yeah, you'll hear the little bit of damage because they do go for a block. Ignore that. If we keep an eye over here, we should see them pop out in a sec. Hey, there you go. And then we'll head over, we can give them their trade, and then we can move them to whichever house they're going to live in their new little town. Which means we can also finally remove this monstrosity. And in here, we've got a couple of fishermen. You can see it's only slightly bigger than a trading hall, but it's better than a kick in the face. So basically, I've leveled these guys up with the string from the spider farm, and that gives you the raw cod trait. So that means we can head over to the guardian farm, grab a bunch of fish, and trade to get a whole bunch of emeralds. And with those emeralds, we'll be able to trade with these guys. So in here we got, don't let me in, let me in. We've got 3 librarians. And so far, yeah, we have some pretty rubbish trades which are not going to do the job for us. And what I really want is mending, unbreaking, and protection 4, which I reckon are the key enchantments that will get us on the way to beating that pesky dragon. So I'm going to crack on with rolling these trades, and I'll see you all on the next episode. Shouldn't take too long to get the good ones, right?